Hi there, I'm Christine with What's Up Cupcake Whimsical Crafts, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. This is my fun little crafty space where I focus on crochet projects, mainly crochet plushies for my small handmade business. And I also do crochet accessories, so amigurumi sticks, safety eyes. I started doing safety eye installers on, all of those are on my Etsy shop, and stitch markers. So lots of fun things to talk about. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back and thank you so much for joining me again. I have a lot of bird activity going on right now. We've just refilled the bird feeder that is attached to my window, so you can do some bird watching while you're here today. But I have a lot of fun things to cover today, so let's jump in. All right, some of the things that I wanted to talk about today. It's just been a busy week for my business. Pretty much a slow-ish weekend. My husband had some family in town, so he was spending a lot of time hanging out with them. I got some good time in with them too, but wanted to let him hang out with his siblings. And as a result, I got a lot of downtime on my own as well, working on kind of business activities, crocheting a lot. My last video that I posted from earlier in the week was all of the projects that I made using the new Naughty Pony yarn. And in between doing the Naughty Pony projects, I was also doing other projects as part of market prep for my upcoming cottagecore themed market, which is done through the Geek and Grub market within the Raleigh, Durham area in North Carolina. So I have been really honed in on geek market prep as well as cottagecore type whimsical items, and had a lot of fun making some new things that I had not made before, as well as revisiting patterns that I just know do well at that market and I needed to replenish. In addition to that, I was able to get in a lot of shipments of items to make more of my amigurumi sticks, to update and replenish my stitch markers. A lot of the pieces that I use in making those are just from different vendors globally. Some are domestic, some are overseas, and so shipping times just kind of every once in a while they all align and I get a large delivery of goods in where I can actually make some of my products, because they are all handmade by me, essentially assembled and kind of put together to their final form. So I have some footage of that and just general chatting while I am doing that, also packaging some of the items. I am a big packaging nerd. I personally love when I order from a small business and it just comes in like kind of a fun little bundle, because a lot of times when I'm ordering from a small business, it's either a gift for someone else or it's a treat yourself moment. And so when something comes and it's almost like a gift for myself, I love it. So I try to recreate that experience when people are ordering from me, and I really lean into my packing experience. So I have some packing footage. I have some chat while I am putting together items. Some of my items require a bit more blood, sweat, and tears than others. Some of my stitch markers I actually have to like drill into each of the pieces, where others it's just kind of beading and stuff. And it gives my wrists a break from crocheting. I love, love, love crocheting. It is very therapeutic for me, but I also tend to overdo it, and sometimes I'll realize like, my wrist is a little sore, maybe I should back off. So kind of switching things up is great in my mind. And so let's jump into some of that footage. Let's start with kind of my chat as I go through some of the projects. In addition, in this video today too, I will be sharing plushies that I made, and I'll be going through some order packing. I had a really great week with my Etsy shop. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Okay, it is a gloomy, rainy day outside. It is Saturday, and I need to pack some orders, but I also have some like housekeeping stuff to do for the business, so I figured we could chat while I did this stuff. First up, I'm going to label these little packages for stitch markers. I have smaller ones for the single stitch markers, of which I have quite a few at the moment. And then I have a little bit larger for the pairs. And I mostly just have singles and pairs. But I've had a lot of orders this week, in particular for my 3D printed safety eye installers, the cupcake design. So I'm printing more of those, and I have to tag a bunch of them. And by tag, I mean attach the little chain so you can connect it to your bag of project bag, whatever. And then I have some amigurumi sticks that I had glued and need to put in their packaging. And then I have to pack those orders, of which I already have other orders that I filmed earlier in the week that I will share the packing from, but I'm not gonna make you sit through packing every order. Yeah, it's been a really busy week. I was working on a lot of Naughty Pony yarn testing just to kind of see what my thoughts were on the yarn. So that was my last video that I did, was sharing that input. But I did a few other projects kind of in between, and then since then I've been getting other projects crossed off of my to-do list. So working on that for my market prep for my cottagecore market at the end of this month. And then I should have, I don't know if I have any markets currently in September, now that I think about it, but we have a lot of like activities in September going on already. We go camping every Labor Day, so we have that planned. I have a beach trip with some friends. Then I have a whirlwind trip to California for a family member's wedding. So just trying to get as much done as possible before fall market season really starts. And I'm hoping this week that I get details on markets that I have applied for the fall season. I've said before on this channel that I really like this one organizer for markets, and I applied to like all the markets that I could fit on my schedule and make work out, and kind of looked at where I wanted to be throughout the fall season, and I applied to them all at the beginning of the year. But the market company itself doesn't share whether or not you got into their markets until pretty much exactly 2 months out from the market date. So I should be hearing about October markets then in August, and I'm a little nervous and anxious just because I only have one market currently confirmed for the fall beyond this August market. I am in a Halloween themed market in October, and I think it'll be super fun. So I'm going to work on some more plushies related to that. Pumpkins. I have my ghost kitty that I just did. I want to make another one. And some other fun little items that I'll share along the way, but that's the only market I have currently on the books, and it's making me a little nervous because I can't plan what the season's going to look like. And then I'm also getting messages from other markets at this point saying like, hey, we're halfway booked, let us know if you want to apply. And I don't know if I want to apply or not, because I'm really hoping I get into these other markets that I've planned out and kind of reserved space for in my mind. So we'll see. But in the meantime, I have been really focusing on my Etsy shop, and it's been really great. My Etsy shop is primarily crochet tools like the stitch markers, safety eye installers, amigurumi sticks, and that has been doing really well. And I've actually been talking to some crochet friends who have really recommended Palm Street, which I know a lot of crocheters are doing Palm Street right now, and in particular they're doing it for plushies. But Teresa from Alligator, I don't know, as you can tell, I'm always like crochet, crafts, I don't know, it starts with a C probably. Well, Teresa had said that I should do Palm Street and do it with these items that I have on my Etsy shop, because it would differentiate myself from all of the people selling plushies. And, you know, I could sell some plushies on there too. But honestly, the thought of like stepping into Palm Street really intimidates me, because I don't like doing YouTube lives for kind of the similar reason of just like talking to myself on the camera, which I know is completely ironic considering what I'm doing right now. But the fact that you're like having a one-sided dialogue where you're trying to get people to reply by typing back, well, real time, live, that makes me nervous. And also, I think it's only an app, because I go to their website and I can't do anything online. It all says download the app, and I have downloaded it, but I like to do things on my computer or kind of in like a bigger environment, and then move to the app to actually like implement stuff. And it doesn't look like I can do that. So it's like, oh, you actually have to figure out this app. And yeah, so I need to do that. And I feel like I should probably attend some more Palm Streets of people in order to see how it works and like things like that. So I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. I need to get more stickers. And then these safety eye installers that I mentioned I've been selling, I actually made a video on how to install the safety eyes using my tool, in like this tool, for example. I have the Totoro, Fox, Cupcake, Castle, Unicorn. I've got a bunch of sunflowers. I have a bunch of designs now, but I wanted to film a tutorial actually showing how to use it. And so I did that, and I did the QR code, and I'm so like proud of myself when I do things like this, because it's those moments where I'm like, I'm not totally old and out of it, as my children say. But I think it's probably helped, because, you know, I've definitely had people say, how do I install safety eyes? How does this thing work? So yeah, I filmed this little thing and put a QR code, so when people get their installers, they know how to use them like right off the bat. And that's been fun. I'm trying to think of new designs to do. Like, I have some designs that I've been working on, but I just haven't made the right combination of the outside shape to then do the, like, commit to it completely. So I don't know. I like my collection thus far, but I do think it would be fun to have a couple more pieces. I want to have a dragon, and I'd like to have maybe an animal paw. I was originally looking at like a cat head or a dog face kind of thing, but I think maybe a paw would be kind of the better way to go. I just haven't found a primary shape that I like, that I want to lean into from what I've been kind of dabbling with. So if you're into that, stay tuned, because I don't seem to do well with just having like a committed date for a shop launch. I just like to go on and randomly update my Etsy. So if you like my Etsy and are following along, definitely follow my actual Etsy store, because I, again, don't tend to do just like set drops. I just randomly go in when I have a new design for something, especially on my amigurumi sticks and stitch markers. I just go in when I have a minute and do total updates to the shop, because I don't know if you can schedule drops on Etsy like you can on a personal Shopify kind of page. So I just go in there when I have a minute and I do it. All right, one more thing to update, and these might actually already be all, yes, they are all labeled, so we can start stuffing these. And these are some amigurumi sticks I made, I think, last weekend, but I just hadn't gotten around to gluing them because I kind of go in bursts of wanting to do a task, and I ran out of space on the tray that I was using to glue things. And so, like, these 4 amigurumi sticks never got glued, but they're little penguins. I do have some more amigurumi stick designs. I once again want to drop randomly onto my site and replenish some that have sold out where I've gotten beads back in, or I just hadn't. Sometimes I'll make a couple of a design to see if people actually like it, and then when they sell out, I'm like, oh, I guess I should make more of that design, and I set aside a pile of beads to do so. But I'm actually running kind of low on my sticks themselves because I do order them overseas now or directly overseas. They were always manufactured there, but I was ordering them domestically, and now I order from AliExpress. But because of that, it has a longer lead time to get to me, so I have to order them in bigger quantities, but then I have to wait. Oops, I woke up my computer. But it's been a productive, busy week in general. I have made a bunch of stitch markers that needed to be replenished. I had some new designs. I've been doing safety eye jig printing like crazy, primarily, again, the cupcake, because that one is the most popular. But I don't have a huge 3D printer. I very much have like a starter one, and so I can't print a large amount at a time, and the printing can take a while. So I just kind of gather up the pieces and do everything in batches, which is kind of how I like to crochet sometimes, especially when I'm really into market prep like I am right now. What am I doing? I have been watching Big Brother thanks to the ladies over at Granny by Nature. They've got me completely sucked in, because while the Granny by Nature channel is crochet related, I don't know the full backstory because they have been on YouTube for many, many years. But they're huge Big Brother fans, like reality TV show Big Brother. And they have a channel dedicated to Big Brother spoilers and talk. And so they got me into it. I was like, I'll give it a try. I've never been interested in Big Brother. I am much more a fan of shows like The Amazing Race. And honestly, that's it. Like, I don't even watch Survivor and that stuff. But I do like The Amazing Race, but I do not watch it religiously. So they convinced me to watch Big Brother just based on their posts on it, and now I'm totally sucked in. And I like to watch the live feed, but I don't know if there's like a general live feed schedule, because when I do go on there, a lot of time I'll be watching people having whispered conversations, but then the feed will drop and they'll be like puppies, and it's usually, I guess, because they're doing some activity or filming something to later be on the show. But I've been enjoying watching the daily spoilers that Granny by Nature does for the show, and then the show itself plays like 3 times a week, and I can never watch it live because it's not on Paramount streaming, so I end up watching it the next day, and I try to watch it and then watch any of their spoiler videos, except for the days where obviously there are no scheduled shows, and then I'm just watching spoiler videos from them. But that's been entertaining me this week while I've been doing a lot of these projects and churning them out. It has been in the 90s here all week, and today it is 70 with a high of like 79. and rainy, so I'm wearing a sweater and sweatpants. It feels very fall. Fun new designs right now in the stitch markers. This one might be my favorite, and it makes me think of Ally Crochet because I love her hot dog pattern. And every time I make it, it instantly sells out at my market, but it just takes a while to make, so I never have time to make it as much as I want to. I also need to like count all the recent stitch markers I've made. This UFO one is my second favorite. I love the little cow going moo. But I have to count my stitch markers because I was like kind of updating my inventory while I was making them, but then I said I should probably wait until I actually have them packaged. So I can't remember what I actually updated and what I thought I need to update and then changed my mind and pivoted my plan. But a bunch that I replenished were the hot dogs, the little patchwork teddy bear, Kirby's. I realized I had Kirby's listed in my Etsy shop. I had like copied a post in order to make the listing, just because it's easier to do that, I find. But in the process of doing so, I never changed the title of the listing, so it said like, it referred to the little prince instead. And so I was wondering, like, no one likes Kirby? I swore that he was really popular. And it turns out, yes, people do like Kirby if you actually list it as Kirby. So, oops. All right, this is my other stitch marker set that's like, this is my #1 selling one. It's the bee and the beehive. So I just made a bunch of those this week. And by made a bunch, I mean I also ran out of the supplies to make them because they've been selling really fast, so I had to order more, but again, it's coming from overseas, so it's going to take a minute. So hopefully I can kind of manage that inventory in the meantime. Oh, 3D printer's done with a batch of safety eye tools, so I'll let that cool down. My husband's yelling across the house. It's fine, I just gave him the stink eye. So my Etsy shop had a really great week. I have really been working on freshening up things that are in it. I've been adding new items regularly. As I mentioned, I got a lot of stuff to help build up my inventory. I've also been really honing in on my sinker eye installation tools. Personally, I use the like Crojo Mojo jig for certain sizes of sinker eyes and certain like locations of when I'm installing it, where it is in terms of the progress of the plush item, because it can be harder to get into places than others. But I had been finding that there were certain sinker eye sizes as I sized up, or even sized way down in some cases, that were just harder for me to install. And I had been using sinker eye tools like the ones that I make as well, but I constantly misplace them. And I recently got a 3D printer and was using it just for various items around the house and items for my business. And I decided to try my hand at making my own sinker eye tools. And I did that. It has been great. They've been very popular in my Etsy shop, and I'm getting responses from people about how much it has helped with sinker eye installation. So that has been really fun to see and to play with new shapes and styles of it. I also sent one to Robin at Knotting Hook Crochet a couple weeks ago because she'd been talking about making a Fury Dragon, and she was out of green eyes to do that. So I was like, let me send her some green eyes to get her going because I would love to see this fairy dragon at her summer markets. Also because she braves markets in the summer in Florida. I don't know how she does it, but while I was at it, I threw in one of my new sinker eye tools and she shared it in one of her videos. And I had put a coupon code to go with it that suggested that she make a dragon. And it was fun to see because I am new to all of this small business work on my side, especially from an online platform. I've done some of it in the past. If you look at my Etsy shop's been around for like 15 years. And that's because I did sell some stuff, like handmade sewn items when I first had my eldest child. And then it was dormant for years. But just like doing different coupon codes and things like that, it's fun to see how traffic is driven into my shop. And so with the coupon code that I gave from her video, I could see that people were coming from there, and it was very sweet of her to mention it. I did not expect her to. I offered it as an option if she would like to share, and if she liked the products, she could mention it. And so she did, and I would get coupon codes that referenced her video sending them over. And with that, I would include the sticker that I sent to her, which was a really cute seagull that said, "You go, goal." I can't say it, but it was a really cute sticker. So with those orders that had that coupon code, I would send out that sticker as well with their order. So that was really fun. In addition to that, just the different codes that Etsy offers for returning customers, which I'm happy to, every time I see a returning customer, it's really exciting. And I try to throw in something different and unique for them as well. And then, when people have abandoned carts and things like that. So learning this whole aspect of the business has been really fun. But I did have my best week ever with my Etsy shop this week, and I had a lot of fun packages to ship out. So shared some of that in my filming. Let's get into that, and then we'll go into the plushies that I made this week.
We tell each other, they come out one at a time. Safe on deaf ears, that quiet times alone, while we rehearse them in the air, waiting for the time to be right. When we know strength inside will match the strength we show, but it's hard enough to face the face who's always staring back. But there's nothing to be ashamed of, just being what we're made of, and it comes out in the quiet. Between the times we speak, between the times we think we know we're right, between the times. Constantly checking in, what we're about to say is really what it's worth. Is it our 2 cents, or is it nonsense? All these things that we've unearthed, but they've come from inside us, and we can no longer hide this. It's bursting at our seams, 'cause our dreams, they've been fighting. There's nothing to be ashamed of. We're just being what we're made of, and it comes out in the quiet. drifts away as I float off into the recesses of my brain, just searching for the last part of me that might still be the same. As I'm thinking of you, what we might have to go through, I come back down and I almost drown, and that's what you come home to.
All right, it has been a fun week of plushie makes. I, again, played around with a bunch of different yarn after just completely binging on Naughty Pony yarn for the first half of the week in order to get that video out. Um, I have a problem of having too much yarn in general, and those yarns are primarily Elise Veludo, Bernat Blanket, and Premier Parfait. I do have some Premier Basics too mixed in with my Elise Veludo, and I use those pretty interchangeably. And I don't plan on veering away from the Premier and the Elise Veludo. I am starting to wean myself off of Bernat Blanket because it is harder on my wrists and my hands when I'm crocheting with it, and it's also hard sometimes to like rely on various colorways of it, as well as the fact that with Joann's going out of business, I don't have the same sources to access like my Bernat supply like I used to. So I just don't reach for it as much, and I'm trying to go through what I have, as well as just make room for some of the other yarn that I keep replenishing. I did a big Premier Parfait order when I happened to notice that they dropped their new colors. And then I realized I didn't go onto their site with the intent of purchasing those colors. I went to buy other things, but then I saw their colors that they launched, that I guess some were a replenishment of previous limited edition yarns and others were new ones. And I kind of like went into like I blacked out and just was adding the new yarns to my cart. So the next day I realized there were colors that I could not find in my stash, where I was like, oh, I should have gotten that color when I placed that order. And then also, I don't think they had Kelly Green on the first drop, or maybe I just didn't see it, but it was in there the next day. So I grabbed Kelly Green, and I grabbed a few other things, including some of the tie-dye colors for Chenille Basics, as well as the new colors of Chenille Basics that came out that I'd never purchased yet, like Shell and I think Blush. Just when they expanded their Chenille Basics line, I didn't dive into it because I was like, again, overwhelmed with the amount of yarn that I had. So I need to go through the yarn that I have, and I did that this week. And with that, some of the items are new. Some are replenishing things that I desperately needed that did well at previous markets. So let's start with the first of those. This first item is the baby Demogorgon. And this little guy is just a baby. And it's always a hit, not just at the geek markets, but regular markets. And I put it kind of in my fantasy section, but especially with the new Stranger Things final season coming out, like I'd say any day now, but I think it's later in the fall. I really wanted to make sure I had these. So these guys I made up in Elise Veludo, and so they're super soft. I think I had previously made them in Bernat Blanket. And again, it can just be hard, especially getting some of their like lighter color browns. And I have access to Elise Veludo, so I might as well be using it. So I really like how this came out. I did weight it on the body base so that it sits a little bit better. I could see someone having this like on their desk at work. But every time I have these at my markets, they sell. And these guys I will have for $28. They are a generally easy make, but you do the kind of pointed thing a couple of times because you do it for the outside, you do it for the back, and so it is time consuming. This pattern, I will list who the designer is at the top of the screen, and all of these patterns should be listed in the document that I have linked in my description below. So In the description, I have whatsupcupcakecrafts.com, which has links to my favorite patterns, my favorite supplies, link to my Etsy shop, all of the kind of resources for things that I talk about in this video. If there's anything that you ever find that is missing, I very often will forget to put a pattern in, or I'll think I have it already because I talked about it once before, but apparently I didn't put it in at that point. Whatever it might be, just drop a comment and I'm happy to add it or link to it. So you can check that out to find the patterns that I talk about here, but I will also pop the name of the pattern designer at the top. All right, next up, I have had this pattern for a little bit because I am in the Patreon for All From Jade. And this is her little couch pig. And I have been wanting to make this guy for a while now, but especially after my recent trip to Japan, which I have videos for that in my channel, I went to a mini pig cafe, and I fell in love with little pigs. And so I've just been itching to make this guy and just haven't had the time. And it is Premier Parfait, and my Premier Parfait stash was like a huge mess. I have now moved it into the cabinets behind me, mostly. There's still some that doesn't fit because, as I mentioned, I ordered it thinking I was missing things, and then I consolidated all of my Premier Parfait together and realized, oh, I had a lot more in various places that I had forgotten about. But anyways, All From Jade. And this pattern's so fun. It also has the pellets at the bottom, but that's like the nature of the pattern actually calls for it. So it's like this sitting chonky pig, and it's adorable. So I don't want to spoil too much because her pattern details it, but you do use 2 different hook sizes, but it is Premier Parfait, and I used Ballet Pink and I don't know what the other one is, but it's there's 2 light pink shades, and I've completely forgotten. Cotton Candy and Ballet Pink are the 2 that you use for it, or that I used for it. Next up, this is a pattern I've had for a while, and I love this animal. I hate crocheting it because they're so complicated, but I think this one's 100% worth it. And it is a peacock. It's from Cuteville Toys, and this is actually my peacock hand-painted safety eyes. It's hard to see, but they're like purple, teal, and greenish color. And I love peacocks. I remember when I was a kid, there was some like Disney scary movie. I want to say it was like Mr. Boogedy. I don't know. And there was like it was a scary movie, and there was like a graveyard scene, and you would hear like this crying sound, and it was a peacock. I learned as an adult. But I remember it scared the heck out of me when I was a kid. But I do love the sound of peacocks. And every time I hear them, it makes me think of that movie, which maybe that explains my love for scary movies. Maybe it explains my love for peacocks. I don't know. So yeah, I love this pattern. It was actually not as intense as I thought it was going to be because, again, peacock patterns are generally a lot, like you are doing tail feathers. But this one was labor intensive, but not horribly so. I did use a Lee's Veludo yarn, and with a Lee's Veludo, I generally use a 5.5 hook. So yeah, I think it came out beautiful. I honestly feel like it could be a showstopper piece at my booth just because I think peacocks are gorgeous, and I think this came out so as well. So, fun little peacock. Speaking of fun, if you've been here before, you know I have a ridiculous sense of humor, and I could not resist this little collection. And I have the full set of the patterns, but let's start with the cappuccino. It's a little capybara in a cup. And I did like try to vary the different filling colors, though after I made the cappuccino, I realized that they are actually like a foamy drink, so it would be like a cream color on top. Oops. I don't think anyone's going to read too much into it. The pattern does offer this guy and one of the other ones as removable, but I like it for the pun in its name, so I kept it as is, and I think it makes it a little less labor intensive. So, cappuccino first up. T-Rex. How adorable are these? I mean, I love them, and it has a little tea bag. T-Rex. Again, this could be removable, but I didn't do the removable option. I did the one that is permanently swimming in the drink. This last one does not have a removable option, but is still adorable. Axolotl. They're amazing. I love them. So I made 2 of each except for the T-Rex just because I was conflicted about what yarn color to do for the cup. And then I don't know. I had them actually, I made all the cups at once. So I made 5 of them and filled them, closed them off. But then I had to do the like characters on the inside. And I did the cappuccino and the T-Rex a couple weeks ago, but I didn't want to I wanted the whole collection. And I finally got this off my desk, but I love how it looks. There is also a puppuccino and a kitty, and I have those patterns too. I just, again, didn't have time to do them. I wanted to have 2 of each except for the T-Rex, which I will do a second because I want to have at least 2 of each for my next market. I think that they will be really silly and a hit. I'm guessing I'll sell them for like $22. They're a decent size and they do take time to make, but like, I don't know. I feel like $22 is probably reasonable for them. And I used Premier Parfait for these because it was going to give me the biggest variety of colors and be a reasonable size, knowing I wanted to keep it around the $20 point. So, all right. Last but not least on my plushies, this might be my favorite make for the week. And the pattern is also the most recent. It came out just earlier this week, and I think it's by Zero Gravity Crochet. Again, it'll be on the screen, but it is a phoenix. And I made this with Naughty Pony yarn. So this is her red, orange, and yellow. So if you watched my video reviewing this, like it was just so smooth to work with, and especially with all the different color changes and the various bits of sewing that had to happen, it was a dream to work with. So I love, love, love how this phoenix turned out. I have been looking for a good phoenix pattern for a while. I have one that's more of like a lovey pattern, and it just hasn't been a hit at markets, but I don't think it translates to what it is when people see it. Because it's a lovey, so it just doesn't display as well. But I think this one is beautiful. And these safety eyes were painted by me, just nice and gold, which I thought was perfect and like suitable for a fiery phoenix. And the hook size I use for Naughty Pony yarn is a 5. So yeah, those are the makes that I am ready to reveal for this week, or for this video. I actually have quite a bit. It's just been really productive. I really stuck to my like market makes list and the list of like kind of themes that I've been working on, as well as giving myself the needed breaks for my like wrist health. So painting safety eyes, assembling and packing things. It's just been a good week overall mentally, I think, for me, and the weekend itself. And I actually have Monday and Tuesday off this week because we are taking a little road trip. Nowhere crazy. We're just going to go to South Carolina and we're going to go see one of my favorite bands, Mumford and Sons. And we're taking our kids. So our kids are 10 and 12. And Mumford was like what I listened to when I was expecting both boys, but like my first especially, I was super into them. I actually met the band and I was pregnant, and I have a photo with them from when I was pregnant, and I would share it, but I honestly, it's buried in photos and everything somewhere. Um, so I just have such like wonderful memories associated with Mumford and Sons, and we played it for the boys over time. And again, it's just one of both of our favorite bands that we actually agree on. So we're taking the kids to see them. It's actually their Railroad Revival Tour, which we saw years ago when we lived in California. They did it. I've seen most of their tours at this point. But they essentially ride in on a train and get off the train. They're like playing music on the train, get off, play on the stage, and then they ride off into the sunset on the train. So I just thought it'd be fun. When we saw it years ago, it was in, I want to say it was like in Oakland in California. And Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros were there, and they played, and I love an accordion. And they have an accordion player too. Mumford does as well. Like, they're so talented with instruments, but like, it was, my accordion and banjo loving heart was overjoyed. So anyways, I'm very excited to go and see them. And yeah, I'm hoping my kids like it. And if they don't, like, it's not a big deal. But there are other bands I think that would be really fun for them to see. My husband and I are both very big into like 80s pop music too. I know it's a very strange variety of music that we listen to. So it'd be cool to take them to one of those bands, but at the same note, all those bands are getting pretty up there in age, so it's a little harder to see some of them. Yeah. So, yeah, so I have the next couple days off because we're going to drive to go see Mumford. And then I'm going to bring some projects along the way because it's like a 4-ish hour drive from where we are. And it'll just be nice to have kind of a shorter work week. I do work a full-time job, and it can be very intense at times, especially then trying to like run my small business and all the kids stuff. So yeah, it can just make for a very busy season, but I enjoy it. And things like crochet and crocheting adorable little phoenixes. Phoenix. I don't know if the plural of phoenix is. I'm guessing it's phoenix. Crocheting adorable things just is a nice like time for my brain. And I'm usually watching YouTube videos like this, not myself, obviously, because it would give me so much anxiety to rewatch any of my videos, but watching other small business creators, crochet creators, or listening to audiobooks. I just finished one, Paladin's Grace. I love some romantasy. Before that, I finished the new Olivia Hawker book, The Stars in Their Light. Very good. I really like her stuff. So yeah, I generally dabble in the fiction genre. Anyways, we talked about a lot today. What book are you reading right now, if you're reading a book at all, or if there's something that you're watching? I need to get caught up on some shows. I just haven't recently had a lot of time to watch anything, but there are quite a few shows I need to get caught up on. The Cozy Buckeye was talking about Outlander, and I am so behind on Outlander. I'm probably on season 3, and I think it's the final season right now. And so she was talking about it, and I feel like I need to get caught up. There's just a lot to do in so little time. All right, I was trying to close us out, but I went off on a tangent. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would love if you liked and subscribed so you could join me for another future video. I hope to have another one out this week, and I'm really excited about that one, but it's kind of going to be dependent on how much I can get done during this drive over the next 2 days, and then actually filming, because honestly, the hardest part of all of this is the filming and the editing. I have wanted to film this all day today. Like, my intent was to film it first thing this morning, but then I kind of got sidetracked into doing other things for the business and was like, well, I'll just get to it later. And I just kept pushing it off until finally early evening here now, and I wanted to make sure, if anything, I filmed it before the lighting got really icky. So thank you for being here. I hope you will join me again soon in the future. And yeah, let me know what your favorite part was of the video, or and or what you're reading, watching, to pass on some recommendations. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.